Well, now for our regular chat about the economic issues of the week, and we're joined in the studio by economics correspondent Stephen Long. Stephen Long, hello.
Hi, Ali.
Let's look at China first. China's manufacturing output slowed down on the latest indicators. What does that mean for Australia?
What it means, I think, is that one of our key markets is definitely in slowdown. There was a contraction on the performance of manufacturing index. Two things driving that, Ali. One is that China's been looking to cool its economy and dampen inflation, restricting lending. But perhaps more importantly, the markets in Europe drying up as Europe seems to be heading towards recession and demand dwindles there. And what it suggests really is that we will not be immune.
But does it also suggest that there won't be, a lot of people have talked about, were talking about the risk of China overheating and the need for a gentle slowdown. Is the risk now more at the harder end, a potential hard landing?
I don't know that we're going to see a severe hard landing in China, but it really depends on whether the Eurozone crisis stays a Eurozone crisis or whether it really extends around the world. And I'd have to say things are looking pretty bad in Europe. I mean, I've been thinking of songs. I've had this plot in mind about doing GFC the musical, and
how depressing.
Yeah. Well, if you look back, Ali, on the situation in Europe, people who thought that this European financial stability facility would save the world, really the theme song for that was Jefferson Starship Miracles. And I think the theme songs for next year are Carole King, It's Too Late, Baby, It's Too Late, and Bachman Turner Overdrive, You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet. It's not getting better.
Well, we heard, in fact, Laura Tingle at the end of that discussion that we had was referring to the fact that we don't talk about it very often, but things are getting worse in Europe. That's certainly what the mood is. Ultimately, what does that mean for Australia?
It really depends on whether they can contain it to Europe or whether it kills credit lines around the world and just plummets into a global recession. We've already seen European banks pulling credit from Asia, from emerging market economies, because they're just pulling all the money back to Europe to shore up their own balance sheets. That's a possible transmission mechanism, plus the decline in markets. But we really don't know. It is possible that in Australia we could have a situation like Global Financial Crisis Mark I, where things are bad overseas, but we have interest rates at 4.25%, plenty of potential to cut. Despite the fact that the government's determined to bring in a budget surplus, we actually have some scope for stimulus. So we've got scope in fiscal and monetary policy to make things better. It could be that in Australia, if we're lucky, the theme song is REM, The End of the World as We Know It, But I Feel Fine. But if it does hit China and the emerging markets of Asia and scupper our exports, then things could get pretty bad here. And really,
you haven't got a song for that one?
No song for that one, except perhaps the song remains the same. And Lenny Kravitz, It Ain't Over Till It's Over.
Stephen Long, many thanks.
You're welcome.